Okay, so the next item on the agenda was the request by Gilbert for admin status on the TZM server. Gilbert, would you like to open this discussion a little bit?
Sure. Will. Yeah, that was quite a deal. I mean, I understand what has happened, and I understand it was nice for everyone to see. Um, I can share a little bit of background, and I think that everybody is entitled to that as well. What happened is that, I took a lot of time away from the movement, but I can't really always be gone from the movement because of the inherent, participation that I and, for example, Peter has with this movement. And people will always, express their concerns to me, which made me concerned as well. And that's why I looked into what's going on with the movement at the moment and where we have gone now. Now, I'm super proud of all the things that people have done, and that's great. Um, Not everybody understands a medium such as Discord is. I do because I'm a bit younger and I have used it for different methods, and so I understand the function of Discord and how it works. But okay, let's get to the point. I did propose to get a administrative function there because uh, I want it to be included into the global collective of things that we administrate, and that there's no discussion and that we can actively promote it. That won't be possible if we don't secure it in the same way that we have been before, and that touches upon the main thing that the only discussion is about. Why would we be careful? It's just because of that. We've always secured a small part, and I'm great. I'm good with that. We don't have to do much more. We've always secured a small part of the communication methods to the public world. So, but ask whatever you want.
So, okay, thank you, Gilbert. Timu, you're next on the speakers
Sure.
queue.
Yeah. Um, well, just to provide another perspective, um, what happened was that Gilbert came to the Discord and requested to have permissions, admin permission to the server, which is the Zeitgeist movement Discord server. And this, do you know what this server is about?
Are you
Who are
asking
you
me this
asking?
question or? Ooh.
Please tell us.
Yeah, so everybody here, like, are you familiar what the server is for?
No, please tell us.
Okay.
If you're speaking, we're not hearing you, Timu.
Yeah, sorry. It took a while. So, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So the Discord server is something that the Finnish chapter created because um, TeamSpeak wasn't working for us, and people weren't really coming to our meetings, and we wanted to try something else. So we built the Discord server first for the Finnish chapter meetings, but then we noticed how well it worked and decided to make it global, so that other chapters could also use it and benefit from it, since we had already put the server together and were managing it. So we created channels for um, first for the instructions and rules of the server, and then a global discussion server and off-topic server. And we decided that it's this server would be a place where people could come together, like-minded TZM supporters, to discuss not only about their work in TZM but also off-topic things. So we thought that it would be important for people to have a place where they could connect to each other globally, and this global connection could motivate them in TZM, and also people could help each other understand TZM better and help share ideas and communicate, because we thought that was an issue in the movement at the time. So in the just a second. In the instructions and rules of the server, it states that Discord is both a serious location for TCM meetings and an intended hub for a random conversation with like-minded people who care about creating a better future for all. And we have basic rules of conduct which enable a functional online atmosphere, so people are treated with respect. So we have categories in Discord for topics, so people can share books or videos or scientific articles. They can discuss via voice or chat about different topics, and we have development and news sections and global action chats, and then we have different chats about different topics that people have suggested. The community in Discord have suggested they would like to have a channel about a certain project or certain idea, and it's created for them to discuss that idea there. So it's kind of like a forum and a chat and a communication program in the same. And then we have channels for different areas of the world and different chapters. We have bots that help automate the functions of the server. If somebody wants to create a channel for their chapter, all they have to do is basically request it in one specific channel, and we will immediately create it for them for their use. And we can give roles there for example, coordinators, and define what coordinators can and cannot do. And the admin role on the server is only to moderate the server so that there is no violent or trolling behavior there, and so that people can get channels and the server stays functional. So that's pretty much it. It's a very open platform and a very community driven, and we use rational consensus to manage it and to make decisions on the server. So that's, I think, the basics of the Discord server. It's basically a community, a forum, and a chatting and discussion place. It's both for work and for off-topic conversations.
Thank you, Timu. Nobody else has put their name on the speakers queue. Would anybody else like to respond to the discussion so far?
I would to the topic at hand, but letting anybody else to. Yeah.
I have a question. So Gilbert, when you came to and talked to the group, did you provide background on why you were talking, or did you just come in and say, here's what I want?
Yes, I did do the last thing, but I'm very pragmatic about it, and that's not always complimentary, to my character and position, but that's how I am, because I don't have any reservations about anybody that I work with, in the sense that I trust that the people that are motivated to do stuff like that, they're my family, and when I ask something, then I think that would not be a problem. Obviously, and that's why we're talking about it, it was a problem. But, okay, that's how it went.
Thank you
May I
for answering.
continue?
Yes.
Yeah, so in the document, the board.net document, I used the chat to share a document which is basically our arguments for rejecting Gilbert's demand for having an admin role in the server. So I think that 6-page document covers everything from our perspective, and I thought it's all public because all of it is already in Discord. You can read it there, or you can read it in the document. So I thought you might want that. But the issue was that I don't know what mindset Gilbert was in when he came to the server, but he did not present his request in a very friendly manner or respectful manner, and people in the server, other people than admins, uh, asked why Gilbert would want to be an admin there, and instead of explaining why, uh, he started demanding it and threatened us unless we give it to him, and that seemed to us to go completely against not only the principles of the server but also of TCM, and we were really concerned about the way Gilbert acted, and therefore we even suggested that we can help Gilbert set up what he wants, and we can work together, and we just want to have a civil discussion about the reason for the admin role, because admins on the server do not really have anything special. We only moderate the channel creation and make sure that the server is functional and that there is no behavior that goes against the code of conduct of the server. So it's basically just work, and it requires good communication skills and patience, and we asked for the reasons why Gilbert would want to have the admin there, and he didn't give us any. You can see all of that detail in the document, and it went quite bad communication wise, so we ended up banning Gilbert from the Discord server for 1 week just so we could calm things down. And earlier today, I talked with Gilbert about these things, and he agreed that the way he communicated wasn't really proper, but it was because of of his specific reasons for why he felt that it was kind of offensive for us to question him and his demands, and he told me that it was the first time that anybody had really questioned his authority to have certain things within the movement by default. But it was the behavior that defined the decision that we had. So today we talked with Gilbert about this issue, and he was completely different person today, willing to discuss these things and respect us also, and our needs and thoughts. And I think that we are pretty calm, as you could probably tell, that we are here in a very civil manner, and we are friends with Gilbert, even though we had to ban him from the server, which could be quite drastic for some, but we did unban Gilbert today. And basically, if we get good reasons for why Gilbert or somebody from the core team should have admin access to the server, and as long as we know that they want to work with us without destroying the server, or by destroying I mean without changing it, without communicating with the other admins, because that's the way the server is run. It's meant to be managed with rational consent and together in a horizontal way rather than in a top-down way.
Okay, but
yeah.
let's just, because this is being taped, it's being recorded, so it's good to ask critical questions. Do you understand when I tell to you nobody else that is taking care of the global websites, global email, cares about the Discord? I'm the only one, and the reason I do is because I know how it works. I know how it functions, and that's why I said the things I did. And I think it's important that somebody that understands how it works has a role in it. Is that weird?
Well, I understand how it works, and it's not the only reason to have an admin role to understand how Discord works. You also
Of
have to,
course, no, no, no,
yeah,
no. Okay,
yeah.
that's true. I agree with you on that one. Of course, that's not the only role, but what is important as well is to consider that, uh, we've progress to a state where we agree, and I agree as well. I'm happy, I'm super happy that we can be decentralized in this way, but we have a bare minimum of securities. And within that bare minimum of securities, it is important that we make sure that the parts that are uh, maybe a bit more vulnerable in this movement are secured, and that's the only thing that I've always done, and that's my whole reason to do so. So I don't, you can say about me whatever you want, but I mean, I don't mean anything to you personally because I know you are. You are a friend of mine, and I respect you for that. But I'm just talking here from a movement perspective. Um, it is a vulnerable position, and we need to secure it, and I've always stand for that.
Can you specify what you mean by it being vulnerable?
Yes, I can. Um, the reason I can is because I've lived it. I've lived episodes of it. Uh, what I'm meaning by that is that there can be situations. I am not proposing them, hoping that they will exist, but they could exist, in which that we would need to be able to secure uh, the integrity of the movement, and that's what I've always done, and I will always do it, and that's what I mean by that.
So if the TZM Discord server was a threat to the integrity of the movement somehow, for example, it's really hard for me to come up with an example, but if it started to spread or promote something that isn't in line with TCM train of thought, that would be an issue, right? That
That would be an issue,
that
yes.
that kind of things would.
That's what I mean exactly, and that's the only thing that I'm meaning by that. And I understand that's a hard thing to understand, and it's not easy to put your or wrap your mind around. And I've never wanted you guys to even be concerned with that because that's
I
that.
get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it, and it's not that you don't trust us. Um,
No,
I understand. And another reason for sharing the admin rights is that it is, I think, unsustainable to have admin rights in the hands of only a few people or one person. In our case, it's three admins, but it's still quite unsustainable, and it would be better if it was not only within the Finnish chapter, but also uh, people from other chapters would could have the admin role. And actually, we have asked for people to become admins for a long time to the Discord server, uh, because we want it to be movement wide, and we want it to be sustainable. The only thing we ask, the only thing, is that those who want to be admins have to understand the movement, which you do, but they also have to be able to follow the rules of conduct of the server, which means respectful communication. And that was the thing that, understandably, and I think you would admit that didn't quite go as you wanted, and then the threats and demands were kind of bad. And I'm sure you regret saying those things. And the only thing is that if we would give you admin rights to the server, uh, we would need to know that you would not speak in that way to people in the server. You would not ban anybody without discussing it with the admins first. Uh, that's how we do things there. So if we want to ban somebody, we won't just do it, but we will ask it. We have an admin channel there that only admins can see, where we can discuss these things. So that's one thing. So communication has to be non-violent, and it has to go through this kind of peer review first. It doesn't take long. We respond immediately, usually. And then the third thing is that all changes to the server have to be discussed also. And we understand arguments, and we want to work together to make TZM better. But also we have good reasons to believe that the Discord server has been successful because it is open and it allows people to have conversations there. Also off topic, we have the off topic channel for that, because the connection that people get can be really beneficial, and it has been something that had been lacking in the movement for a long time. It only basically happened in the international meetings once a year. So this is a place, this Discord server, where people can connect to each other. And I have one more point about it that I would like to share, even though it goes beyond the 2-minute mark, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Please share with it.
Yeah, so in 2017, we made the summary for TCM development proposals with the GCA. With me and you, Gilbert, were a big part in that. And one thing we thought was a structural problem in TCM was the fact that there had been a lack of organizational response to the fact that TCM supporters have a spectrum of beliefs that extend from ignorance to awareness. So not all people who support TCM necessarily know exactly what it is or behave in ways that would be best for our image. But it's still a fact that it's a learning process, and it really starts from ignorance or mild ignorance, and it grows towards awareness. And I think the Discord server is one such place where people from all over the spectrum can come together and learn from each other and ask those uh, kind of stupid questions also, and get answers to those, and grow. Because I think most of us have gone through that process, but maybe some of us have forgotten that it's still part of TCM, even though we might not like it when people share some conspiratorial document or something like that every once in a while. But those off-topic channels are a good place for people to do that without affecting the image of the movement, because it's a place to discuss these things, and we also help people to think critically about them. So even though it's not always 100% in line with TCM, the discussions that are had there, it's part of the learning process, and I think we cannot ignore people who do not understand TCM fully, and that Discord is kind of a good forum for them to learn and grow. That's about it.
No, and it's very well formulated, and you have my respect as a person and as a friend, of course. But I mean, the way that it's all gone down, that's something that I do have an issue with, and you know that I've talked to you about that about in private, and that's fine. I mean, that's no concern to anybody else. It's just the way it is. But um, moving forward, I think it's important that that people get a different idea. Like you can say whatever you want, you can have every inhibition that you want, but what is the basis of it? Like if we're talking about this medium, the Discord, why is there such a inhibition to let people administer it in that same way? That's something that I really conflict with. And that's okay, we're being recorded right now, so you can say it on voice, and then we know.
Sorry, was that a question?
Yeah, that was a question.
Could you repeat the question? I didn't quite understand it.
I said, what is the inhibition and what are you struggling with to make sure that somebody would have such a role to make it more clear?
Oh, okay. So an admin role. Admins have
Yes,
huge
exactly. I
power.
mean,
Yeah,
you know that I have a because I literally have all the other
I understand. Yes,
yeah.
and you are trustworthy. I know that. But admins are in a position of power in a way because they have the means to ban people from the server. They have the means to change the server in significant ways, so they can affect the functionality of the whole project. So
Yeah, I'm not oblivious to that. I understand that, but why would I do that? What would do the why would I be
because
interested?
you said that you had plans, but you wouldn't share the specifics of those plans, at least not at first. And then you said that you will do what you want and you don't give a fuck about what we think. And I'm quoting here, and
Yeah, yeah,
also,
that's
yeah,
fine. You can quote whatever I said. That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I
But
understand
because
that. I
you
was
talked in
prepared for that,
such a
so.
disrespectful and authoritarian manner, uh, that was the issue.
Okay,
So
okay. If
admins
that
cannot be
it
like that. Admins cannot be authoritarian in a TCM platform. Platform not in Discord, but I don't think anywhere in TCM you should have an authoritarian admin. Admins should be able
No,
to
but
discuss
I
things
understand
rationally
that,
and
and
calmly.
I think it's reasonable to question that, but um, I guess it was a result of the way that I was confronted in the first place. Like, why would you uh, request the things that you requested of me in the first place? Like, I can't understand that, and that's why I said like if it does this have to be a problem, then it would be not on me. I've been very specific about what I wanted to do when I came back, and I was confronted by this, and I still don't understand it. So I understand what you're saying. I'm not an idiot. It's just like why, you know?
Can, can
Well,
I
first,
can I
yeah,
interject
yeah.
a second here? It seems to me that what's at stake here is that Gilbert has indicated to us that he has the capacity
User joined your
to
channel.
have the Discord server included as one of the officially recognized uh, media outlets of the Zeitgeist movement. Uh, and in order to be able to do that, he needs to have admin status so that he could, if things got out of hand, not because he's directly managing anything on the Discord server, but if things got out of hand, he could use that status to intervene and get things back on track. Is that is that correct, Gilbert?
This is completely correct, and you have completely 100% said it better than I could. So, yeah.
I would like to add that uh, even if Gilbert had the admin rights, he wouldn't just interfere, but he would be able to bring it into the table with the other admins quickly and efficiently, and then we could together change things. And I don't think I think it would be a really good thing for the Discord server to be uh, advertised as a global place, in the global movement as an official TCM platform, because Discord is really popular at least among young people, and it's a very easy and accessible free service, and because it provides this kind of a more community feel and a forum for people to learn about these things and discuss about TCM related things, and also an alternative for chapters to meet and organize their activism. So
But you don't have to sell Discord to me. I
no,
understand what
I'm not
Discord
saying.
is.
I'm just saying that that would be those would be like the reasons why it would be an official TCM platform, but I don't think an official kind of media platform, because it's more for the community and it's not as much outward directed. Um, you know what I
But
mean?
it could be. It could be. It could be. I mean, there's no reason why Discord could not be an official medium. What is inhibiting many people is that it's being, inhabited by a lot of people that make us concerned, and that's not a good thing. And I'm willing to talk about that. But
Yes,
Let's do
that's
it.
exactly what I was saying earlier, that it's the spectrum from ignorance to awareness. And many of the people who are in the beginning of as part of that spectrum, uh, they do not understand all the things that we do. But that's why it's an internal kind of community place for TCM people. It's a kind of a safe haven where people can discuss about TCM related things without being judged. So it's not kind of, the server isn't meant to be uh, something uh, that's like an outwards medium. It is open for anyone to join and come to discuss the movement. So in that way, it is open. But I wouldn't ban or prevent free speech on the server. I think the movement needs a place where people can discuss and grow.
No, I've never inhibited people from doing that. Like that would be ridiculous to say that, and then taking it away from my person. Okay, we guess that doesn't matter. Uh,
I
what?
get that we could be more strict about directing people to the off-topic channel, because the off-topic channel is clearly something that doesn't represent the movement, and that's something that we could do
Okay,
a better
but
job
but
with.
let's get to conclusions because you Timu, as my friend, I understand, and I don't mean you any harm, but we need to be strict and need to be conclusive because we need to move forward as a movement as well. This is my
Totally.
proposal. If we do not, if y- or if your associates do not want to see me as a person that is directing something in the Zeitgeist movement global. Um, what can we call it? Let's make something funny up. Unofficial. uh, yeah. What will we call it? I don't know. I don't even know.
It's just a core group, for example.
Gilbert, may I
Yeah,
interject something here? It
of
seems to me
course.
that there's not really much of a problem as it stands. I mean, I think you're probably in agreement with the rest of us at this point in time that TZM Discord is serving a useful role for the Zeitgeist movement community.
I agree, but Gary, the most important part is that the rest of the people do not agree with that. I agree because I know what Discord is. So you're, I'm not saying you, but if people are fighting with me about this, that's really not in your best interest because I know
Well,
what.
well, let me make a suggestion, Gilbert. The reason you're wanting access to admin status is so that if things got off track on Discord, you could pull it back into line, or like has had to be done in the past, like with one of the early Australian chapters. And
Only reason. Only reason.
yeah, I understand that. So wouldn't it effectively be the same thing if you said, okay, well, I recognize that this is great. I'm going to propose that we uh, add this to the global website as an officially recognized TZM uh, medium of discussion or whatever you want to call it. And then if things got out of line, you wouldn't have to necessarily have access to this server because you could simply remove all the links to the server that are from the TVZN global site and just kind of dissociate yourself with the Discord TZM Discord in that way.
I would
You
have
could
to
even make
say
it. You could even make a public statement on the global website saying TZM Discord has gone off the rails. We no longer support this as an officially recognized global site.
that's one option, but there's also the alternative that Gilbert could just come to me and say that this needs to be moderated, and we would do it. So it's not a problem because Gilbert can trust us, and I can trust Gilbert with the admin roles as long as he doesn't use them against the rules of the server, and as long as he discusses with the other admins the actions first. That's the only condition, and as long as the threats and demands won't continue, because that was kind of a hostile way to talk to us and disrespectful and distrusting. But that was the only issue. and it
Okay,
started
yeah,
because
I
people
understand.
who do not know Gilbert.
Let me have a moment.
Yeah,
Honest
sorry.
to No, it's okay. Don't worry. You don't ever have to say sorry to me, Timo. Let me explain to you why I was that aggressive in the first way. Like, look, even though I took a lot of years to be away from the movement, I can't really be away from the movement. Um, Peter was the person that has presented all the information informational. I did my best. I did my utmost best to be there for you guys, um, in the best way. You know,
I know you've been there all the way from the beginning, doing the hard work. I know that,
I
and I
did a
really
lot of
respect that.
work, and
Yeah, but
you know,
it wasn't me who questioned you. It was people from the server, just part of the community who didn't know you, who questioned why you would want admin right. And that's where it went kind of sour because they didn't know you, so they questioned you as they should. And then when the things got hostile, then the admins kind of noticed it, and that's why we're here now. But I don't have a problem as long as you agree with those basic principles, which I think are completely uh, in
yeah,
line with you,
no
Tim, and okay,
problem.
and
I
yeah,
understand you can't help that. Of course, I understand that, but um, I'm also, I think I should be very open about what I want to achieve. And that is that I will not take any inhibition in my activism because if I decide to be active for the Zeitgeist movement, then I will do it with uh, all that I can do. I will do everything that I can do. Um, and I will not accept any borders in that. I won't. I won't. I've already secured all that I need to do it because I think it's important, to do whatever you need to do. I do think that it's very respectful and very kind the way that you responded. But it's not that important to me that people get ruffled up about me being disrespectful about certain things. That is not the Zeitgeist movement. That's where I will surpass you in understanding the Zeitgeist movement. That is not that important. So I hope you understand that.
I get it. I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think that the ends necessitate the means, or how is it said? The means still have to be sustainable, otherwise you will create conflict.
Yeah, okay, but I don't want to create conflict. I want to make sure I can move forward in the way that I want to move forward.
And
I
we will
don't
help
want to
you.
interact with people that don't agree in the same way. It's fine, that's their right. Perfectly fine. But I'm going to do what I think is right. And, um, the one thing that's made me absolutely furious is the fact that I had to think that, okay, I have to explain myself to people that are not ever going to do the same thing for the movement that I would do. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to show it to you within a month, and you will see that same response. And do I have to explain myself? You know, uh, I'm glad that we had the discussion that we had today because otherwise I would have needed to take in my action because it's not reasonable. There's no way that I should be saying seen with that, statement. Why? Why? What's the problem? I'm not going to do anything wrong. I'm going to do anything that's right. So whatever.
So, does anybody else like to say anything about this discussion? It's a pretty emotional topic, it seems. So,
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm not, wanting to confront you with that. It is emotional for me. Why? Because I have done this for such a long time, and I just wanted to be clear and normal for anyone. So I'm just going to ask completely, are you going to sign me this rights that I requested on this Discord server or not? If not, then I will go on with the terms that I asserted, and I don't mean that in a mean way. It's just what I have to do, apparently.
I don't respect the fact that you think you have to demand things from me because I understand rational arguments and I think there are good arguments for me to give you the admin right. And that's all you have to say. I mean, as a TCM member,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
I don't take well to authority, as yes you know. So
I
I
understand
am
you,
willing
but
to
no, I
discuss this with
make
the other
I actually
admins.
make fun of that for the fact that it's funny, because that's what's keeping our movement behind. People making too much uh you know arguments about these things. I will never stand for that. I know exactly how this movement works. There's nobody else around that will tell you how this movement works. I know how it works, and I will not fall for that. So I'm asking you again, and this is the last chance that you guys get. Can we, just be sensible and resolve this issue? If the answer is no, then it will be an all-out war, which nobody wants, but it is a fact. So say what you want. This is the truth.
What do you think, Gary, about that?
Well, I haven't talked with any of the other old global chapter administration folks that Gilbert keeps referring to, but my general impression is that they never really have interacted with the TZM Discord server, and they probably don't know much about it. And I think they were unhappy about moving away from TeamSpeak altogether in the first place. But that's not necessarily good. I mean, I having interacted with the Discord server over the past, I don't know, half a dozen months or so that you've been active, I've seen the great value it has, I think, to the movement, and I have been trying to engage on that level with a lot of people where we sort of take people where they're at and sort of carry them along this train of thought until they understand a little better what we're trying to get at in whatever way you need to do that. So I've been doing that throughout my process all along. I tried to do it on TeamSpeak at one point in the past and was pretty much uh, restricted from being able to do that. We were told we couldn't just hang out on the server and chat like you can do on Discord. So there are huge advantages here. I see that there are huge advantages. I hope with all my heart that you can see the way through to allowing uh, Gilbert to have the admin right access that he needs so that he'll feel comfortable supporting the TZM Discord server to the global group that has the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, right now. Because there are only a few people that have those access rights. I mean, Peter I guess, has all of them, uh, and he doesn't have access on Discord, and I don't think he wants it. So I tried to explain how Gilbert would go about this, even if he still respects the TZM Discord server, could do this without having to have admin status, but that's somewhat problematic. I mean, that's how I feel about it. It's not a very straightforward issue. It just depends on whether the people that are the admins on the TZM Discord server at this point in time feel that they can trust Gilbert's track record enough to support him and allow things to go forward from here. I hope we can reach some kind of an amenable agreement.
No,
I
I
respect that. I
can
completely
understand.
do.
I can get into consensus with what's been said, and I mean Gary has perfectly made a good picture, and I told you that I kind of, was amused by what was happening, but I don't want to be disrespectful. I am respectful of you all and what you have done. I've merely asked you, like, look, this is my disposition. I want to make sure that we have all the securities in place, and this is the way that I want to arrange it. And for the rest, you can discuss with me. Okay? So that's all I've asked, and that's what I I'm still asking from you. That does mean that you will have to enter into a discussion with me. The fortunate thing is that, for example, Temu, you have shown always your respect, and that's great. I'm glad. But I am ready to talk. We can talk in any situation that you would want.
I
Let me say,
respect that, and I'm willing to give you the admin rights. I'll have to talk to the other admins too and make them understand the same thing because the whole situation was quite drastic, and I don't think that it would be fair for them if I did something without discussing with them first. But I will make your case, and I think that will be everything will be all right. But you don't need to make threats or say that you are going to war with us. It's unnecessary because we want to
Mm,
work together.
I understand that, but I guess you need to have a good understanding of why that was. So I will try to, in a way, portray why that was the way it was. Look, um, by default, Peter is the de facto organizer of this movement. By default, I, which I can't deny, I've been organizing the global chapters for a long time, which, you know, even if there was too much for me, people will still come to me and they will tell me a lot of things. So, you know, sometimes it's even funny to me that people tell me, "Oh, I did something and I already knew it like months ago." It's I know this stuff. I know it because people tell me everything that's going on in the movement, and I have to keep my head calm because I can't, when I decide to be away from the movement, I can't be worrying about things that are going on in the movement, but they still come to me. And yeah, something like that happened. And that's why I got involved because, somebody told me, and somebody that was very significant, I could add, told me like, look, things aren't going the right way. Why aren't you there? And can you please get active again? And that's why I got there. And and that's why I would have never accepted. And I'm glad you're just considering it that way, but I would have never accepted if you said to me, like, okay, yeah, he's demanding that from me, but we're not gonna accept it. No, I've worked far too many years and I've done far too many things to accept something like this, and I don't care if, people don't respect that. I told you before, if you want to fight with me on that, which I really think you don't, because you've shown me the right respect, I won't respect that, and it will not happen. I told you it will not happen, but luckily we found some way of peace, and let's go on that. But that's the truth.
yeah, it seems to me we've gone over an hour here already, and I think we've kind of reached an agreement about what's going to happen next. It sounds to me, let me try and say it. Uh, it sounds to me as though Timu is here representing the admins for the TZM Discord server, and he understands clearly Gilbert's position and his reason for his request, and possible consequences if it's not accepted, and he's willing to uh, bring this discussion to the other admins on the Discord server, and then discuss whether or not they're going to grant admin access for Gilbert and the old GCA group. I guess is what it comes down to. I guess this includes Peter. I don't know. Does that sound about right?
Absolutely.
Peter is definitely not going to be involved again, but I mean that was a good way of presenting a summary, of course. I can explain to you why he wouldn't, but I don't think that people would be interested. Peter is Peter, and he's just gonna do his work with the informatory things. That's his his thing.
Okay, so we kind of have what's going to happen next scenario set up that seems to be to everybody's best interest. So let's just see where it goes.
Can I have the recording of this? I think it would be the most efficient way of sharing these things with the other admins. They could listen to those, and we have a meeting tomorrow, so I can just answer to any questions they might have there, and then get on with it.
I don't have
Absolutely.
any
I will upload a copy of the. I will compress and upload a copy to archive.org of the recording right after the meeting today, and then I will post it on the TZM Discord news and information channel, so you can get it there.
That's perfect.
Can I say something about this?
Well, one second. Andrew, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just thinking if, like Timo was saying, if there's still some resistance from other admins there as a result of there having been some confrontation with violent communication, I think you should just go on with having these discussions with the existing admins about the kinds of changes that you want to see in the Discord server, and so that when they understand that kind of thing, they'd be more likely to give the admin rights so they know, that you can use that to work on what changes are necessary. But yeah, taking that approach of making demands and threats is not going to improve the situation. I think that's the problem at the moment.
I agree.
Okay, Gilbert.
Okay, yeah. Then I have to explain myself because yes, making demands and posing threats is not a proper way to conduce someone. It's not good. I understand that, but you know, uh, I've also been a person that has carried the movement single-handedly as a person beyond Peter for a long time. I know what I'm talking about, and um, it's not for a reason that's not been thought about that I would conduce myself in such a way. I will always respect the privacy of people that say things to me, but you know, if you want, and I'm not talking to anybody in specific, if you want to have this argument with me, we can have it at any point and moment. But my concern has always been with train of thought, making sure that the movement is productive, and I will not, and I mean this in a very direct way, I will not accept any inhibition, any obstruction in my participation at that, and that's what I stand for as a human being. So that's what I leave you with, and thank you for the meeting.
Okay, does anyone else have anything to say on this particular topic? Or anything to share? Okay, well, I would like to.
Check
Sorry,
the
go ahead.
text chat.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I'll check. I see that something's addressed to me. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a very, very good question. Thank you for starting such a topic.
Could you read the question for the recording?
Yes, I can. The question in the chat is by Riku. I hope I have that right. Riku, yeah. Okay. The question is, may I ask, did Gilbert already explain his plan, what he do as an admin, and is that why he will now possibly given admin rights? I think I have that right. If that's not right, then Riku, you can disagree. But I think that's an accurate.
Riku, could you put your question in the text chat for the meeting notes so it'll be preserved?
I'm ready for a response, but I'm just waiting
Go
until
ahead,
it's
Gilbert. Go
confirmed.
ahead.
Can I just try to guess an answer to see if we're on the same page?
Go ahead.
I don't think Bird has any specific plans for how to change Discord server. I think he just needs to be an admin to make sure that if something were to happen there that is not in line with the movement, he has the ability and the power to either make it conform to the movement or take the necessary steps to remove it or change it. But I think he respects the fact that the admins want to discuss any changes or any bans first before implementing them. I don't think Gilbert has any specific plans for how to change the Discord server at this moment, right?
You're in a certain way right. I do think that when we get beyond that point, that I do want to, because I think, Discord is a really good medium that we can expand it, but that will go in the which you have estimated in the right way. That would be in a environment that I would feel secure with, because then, I can openly support and want it, because the rest doesn't care about it. And I think that's a shame, because both you and me and more of the other people, we see what the potential with Discord is. So, um, it's just harsh, but it's a reality that we have to have a discussion about it. But I'm still here. That's my position in this movement. I understand my community. I understand the people that are here. I understand why they would want certain things, and I will never, back off on understanding them. I love you guys, so please don't fight with me. There's no reason.
Okay, I think that's Riku. Did you want to say something else? Like a good answer to me.
Let me just do one closing statement. One of the things that I have heard quite a lot, and that's why I said, like, I didn't just come in just randomly. I didn't just wake up one day and said, okay, now I need to get back into the Zeitgeist movement again. No, I hear a lot of things. People really, want to get in touch with me because of the things that I did for the movement. Okay, it's not about my person, that's fine. But if you want to do something, if you have the right mind, the right way is never to isolate yourself into a certain group. It's to utilize what we have. We have the global website. We can utilize that. But you need to have a good reason to utilize it, and a good reason is not really inhibited. It's very easy to accomplish a good reason to do that. I won't stand in that way, and I don't think anybody else will stand in that way. We just want you to explain why. Okay, fine. Um, if we're talking about this Discord, then I'm saying that's a good tool. And there's no way that it shouldn't be involved with a global organization. So why are we facing other members with that mistrust? And that's just my main direction. Like, we can do a lot easily, and there is no way that you should be inhibited with your activism. But yes, you could face some, you know, inhibitions by other people, but just explain why and what you want to do, and it will be okay. Don't worry, we can do it. We will support it. But motivate it. That's all. That's all we ask.
Well, one of the things that we've been trying to do for a long time is to automate the processes of activism in a way that makes it easier for people to interact without devoting huge chunks of their own private lives to the activism aspects of the Zeitgeist movement. One of the interesting features of TZM Discord that I've seen recently is this news and development channel where we've started making public announcements in a way that the admins of the server have set up so that when a particular topic that it's announced in news and developments gets enough thumbs up, then it automatically goes to a newsletter page. I think that would be a wonderful feature for us to incorporate into the global website if we could possibly do that. That doesn't involve granting people access except for the admins of this server to that particular page where they could post over, rather than creating a separate newsletter page, which is what's been happening now. We'd have something that's associated with the global website so that people could be seeing when people are announcing chapter Z-Day events in their local countries or communities.
So if I'm summarizing it correctly, what you are saying is that you would like to see people having the ability to respond to this event, uh, and
Well, what it is the problem we've addressed time and time again is that we are creating local chapter activism on various levels, but we have had difficulty in getting a response, a timely response to those things from the global websites, whatever they are at any particular time. They've been a number of different websites over the years. We basically need a bulletin board where announcements can be posted to the global community. And obviously the best place for that to be would be on the international chapter website, the global website, not chapter website, but the global website for the Zeitgeist movement. If they had some kind of an announcement page, or public announcements for activities within the Zeitgeist movement on a regular basis that could be updated automatically and easily from some other source, which would be the Zeitgeist movement community as represented by, say, the Discord server. Do you see what I'm suggesting here? Am I making it clear?
No, you're making complete sense, and I understand that. And that's always been completely easy, but because we couldn't have that discussion because of all the, other things going on, people discussing other things, that's been difficult to discuss. But okay, no problem. I've always said, if you need something and if you want to do something and accomplish something, say it, I mean, of course, it's a bit fucked up that you need to ask a person for this, but that's just the reality of things at this moment. No problem. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's make that a reality. That's it.
Is that something, Timu, that the admins on the Discord server could set up to be an automated process like it is now?
Absolutely, that sounds wonderful.
Okay,
And
so
I
let's work
think
towards that.
it's a technical issue. Um, for example, if somebody posts something there and upvotes it a bunch of times with accounts so that it will get on our website, I think that is a technical threat that we can address by, for example, having somebody with a certain role upvoting it, and only those can get.
I also want to
But
say that
yeah,
it should
it's a,
definitely not person related, It should not be related to my person, to any other people's person. I have always been very careful with the movement, and I understand that, sometimes the way I use my language can make people upset, but, I've spent so much time defending this movement. I have had my personal person fucked up in YouTube, uh, people that made a lot of very um, hurtful comments. I've sacrificed a lot for this movement, and that does not give me the default right to ask for what I want. But, I know how this is, and I've always wanted to protect everybody from that.
I'm sorry you've had to go through that. I didn't even know that there were such troll things around there. I mean, of course it happens, but I don't pay any attention to them. I don't think they have any power.
It's fine, everyone. I mean, there's no reason why you should experience that. I would never want you to have that.
Yeah, I'm
But
sorry.
it is one of the reasons that I say, like, look, I understand that it's weird for me to ask for certain things, but I have given my sacrifices for other people in the movement, and if I can't understand why other people would um, not understand why I did that the same way and oppose that, I've willfully done that because I don't want anyone to experience that. That's fucked up. I had people on my in my apartment that knocked on my room, shouted my name. Uh, I don't know. I shouldn't disclose it, but look, I've seen the bad part of activism, I know it. I don't
Yeah,
care, but I will take that for you because I'm with you.
I wouldn't claim that I've gone through anything like that. Um, I mean, I too have sacrificed 5 years of my life, uh, uh, friend time with my friends and family, and my youth, and my whole life, given for this idea of a better future and making it happen. And I know it's going to be difficult and dangerous, and it's going to be a pain. We all know that, but luckily so far I haven't had any threats made against me or anything like that. Um,
Yeah, and I hope that never happens. And of course, we all know that
it
there is
will.
risk, and it's okay. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Even my environmental science teacher has had death threats just because he teaches environmental science and talks about climate change. And I'm going to do a PhD now about the structural changes that are necessary for the whole socioeconomic system. So I'm sure I will get my part of the pain too. It's just how it is, I guess. Trying to change something, it's not going to be easy. But yeah, I'm sorry you had to go through that.
No, you don't have to be sorry. That was a choice that I made. That is a choice that I discussed with Peter Joseph. Peter and I have, some people think that I was an employee of Peter or something, which is absolutely ridiculous. We're just friends. He has his thoughts, I have my thoughts, and we absolutely not always seen eye to eye. The main reason that we've met is being in disagreement with each other. And that's how it's always been. And I think the most important thing for people to realize is that, whatever way we go forward, we all have our way of thinking about the way that things are. But the people that are here, they have very strong opinions of what to do, and I am one of them. And I can tell you, I will not accept, and I am very clear on that. I've always been, I will not accept uh, what has been told to me on the Discord. Okay, and I've agreed with you. I will remain calm while it's being discussed. But I can't. I can't because there's just too many things involved. Why, if that would be a negative response, then we would have a really big problem because there's no reason to do that. And, I want to avoid things like that.
And I understand you don't always have the patience, but I think deep down that I am a person who respects arguments, and since you have so good arguments, it literally wouldn't have required any more than like two sentences to me directly, away from people who don't know you to discuss this, and then I could have
Well, okay. Well,
communicated
to support
forward.
that, I can
But that's the
say,
past.
wait, one moment. To support it, I can say, look, because of what has happened, I'm obviously a bit more emotional. So I'm reacting a bit more idiotic than I would like to be. So I understand that as well. And I respect the fact that you are, taking away from that and responding to me as a person instead of being an idiot. So thank you.
I think we should move on. I think we've kind of reached a point where we're not, it's valuable to sort of vent our feelings about this because we all need a lot of these groups. I think one of the major roles that we play is as a support group for the people that are trying to break the monetary addiction. So, we all are each other's companions in that. But before we close today's meeting, I have sort of a parallel thing that I wanted to bring up that I think might be important. I don't know. This may be entirely off the wall here, but maybe
Can
somebody
I
can
say
tell me.
something before you conclude, though, Gary? Would you allow that?
Okay, Gilbert, go ahead.
I want to say that the way that you conducted this meeting was completely in line in the way that I see that how meetings should be conducted. It was absolutely beautiful to see. I'm glad that we have people that can do that in a way, and it was just great. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right, I
Yeah, but
guess if is there anything else that people want to talk about here? I think that finishes the topics for the meeting that were in the agenda. There will be another meeting this coming Saturday on Discord, on the Discord server, for the European members and whoever else wants to attend.
no, thank you for your proper moderation, and we'll see each other soon.
I don't know if you're aware of that, Gilbert, but we do have sort of dual meetings each month, one on TeamSpeak and one on Discord. The advantage of the Discord of the TeamSpeak server is that we're still able to make recordings here. The Discord server is a little bit less formal, I guess. Uh, and there's some people who participate in Discord that don't like having their voices recorded. So, like I said, it'll be, I think it's at, uh, is it 9 UTC on 30th
Um,
of March 2019 on the TZM Discord server. There will be
I
another.
am aware of this, but I would like to talk to you in private, and by saying in private is just to discuss different options to see how we can conduct and manage this in a proper way because I don't I mean I'm going to be really honest with you guys. One of the things that was really hard for me was to see how divided the community was. Like, in a way, I can understand that it's more efficient to have people in two different international meetings. On the other hand, it makes me really livid and mad, you know. I can get really angry about it. So, yeah, that's it.
Well, if we need to reassess or reevaluate the approach that we've kind of arrived at sort of consensus several months back at this point in time, uh, then I think that's for another meeting. So,
I guess so. Yeah, no problem. We don't have to talk about it now, but I'm willing to talk about it. So, and hopefully with you and whoever else is interested. So,
I would be interested to know that have there been a good amount of people attending those meetings in Saturdays?
I think that occasionally they've had a fair number of people. I think there's also recently been not too many people attending those meetings, uh, maybe just two or three. Uh, I'm not sure. There are notes for all those meetings, and the links for the notes to those meetings are all available, so you should be able to see the same kind of things that we've got in this meeting notes for today should be available for all those meetings. And if you look at the bottom of the TeamSpeak server, um, it says down there, let's see, on the whiteboard, there's uh, links of previous meetings notes on board.net, the new Human Rights Movement Motherpad. And I think those links are also in the bottom of the notes here. Uh, so you can link to those things and get all the past meetings notes at any time you choose. Uh, but there aren't audio recordings except for the TeamSpeak meetings, and those are being uploaded also to the motherboard. So,
hmm, can I have a closing note before we close the meeting?
yes, Gilbert, go.
All right. Well, that is something I want to share with you because that's something I've been thinking about for quite a long time. Look, no matter what we decide, no matter what we do, it's important that, you know, we do what is right for us as a community, as a society, and there's enough of people that want to do that. And, sometimes it gets a bit confusing with events like this, but, in the end, we just want it to be well for everybody. And I love you all, and I will always feel that way. And I will always do the best in the interest of everybody. And I won't have to contend people on that. Um, you know, you know, I'm here for you guys.
We love you too, Gilbert, and welcome back to the active side.
Yeah, I understand I've been away for long, but sometimes you can't help it. It's just what it is.
I feel the same way, and I'm happy to be here again.